Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are breaking down the story of a guy who used his absolute genius to hunt the very people who took everything from him. And look, this isn't just your typical revenge story. It's about how raw intelligence can become the most dangerous weapon of all. Okay, so what happens when you push a brilliant mind to the absolute edge? Let's dive in and meet our main character, Charlie. On the surface, his life seems perfect. He's a top-tier analyst, a loving husband, but he's about to find out that the very systems he created to protect his country can be twisted and used against him in the most brutal way you can imagine.
And this is where it all begins. We're talking about a man whose entire world is built on logic and order, and all of that is about to come crashing down in a huge way.
So you kind of have to see Charlie as two different people, right? On one hand, he's this elite CIA analyst. I mean, he literally invented the security systems the agency uses. His life is all about codes, firewalls, and data. But then, on the other hand, he's just a devoted husband to his wife, Sarah. He's fixing up this old plane she bought him, living a life that seems totally separate from his day job. Then, in a matter of hours, his whole world just shatters. While Sarah's away in London, he gets his encrypted file from a mysterious contact called Inquiline. When he cracks it, wow. It shows his own boss, Chief Moore, covered up a drone strike that killed 150 people. And just as he's trying to process that betrayal, he gets the call, the worst news possible. There was a terrorist attack at Sarah's hotel. She's gone.
For a guy like Charlie, the official story of some random attack is just full of holes. I mean, to him, a city is just a grid of data. So how in the world did 4 terrorists manage to sneak past London's massive surveillance network? Why would they drive against traffic? It makes no sense. So he does what he does best. He hacks the hotel's security footage, identifies all 4 killers, and when he brings it to his bosses, he sees it in their eyes. They already knew who they were.
So what do you do when you find that out? You're betrayed, you're stonewalled. Well, Charlie realizes he can't get justice by playing by the rules. He has to become the system's absolute worst nightmare. He's not a field agent. He's not a soldier. He's a thinker, a planner, a hacker. And that's exactly how he's going to fight. He decides to turn the system against itself, using his brain as the primary weapon. Code becomes his sword, and data becomes his ammunition. So he comes up with this high-stakes but brilliantly simple plan. He hides a small skimmer on an office printer and just copies all of his boss's dirtiest secrets. We're talking bombings of hospitals, friendly fire incidents, thousands of civilian deaths. Then he creates the ultimate insurance policy. He just strolls into his boss's office and lays it all out. He blackmails them. Not for money, no. He wants the tools for his revenge. He demands full CIA combat training, cash, fake passports, a weapon, and every single piece of intel they have on the 4 people who killed Sarah. And you know what? They have no choice but to say yes. Now here's the genius part. While the CIA is scrambling, tasking a whole team with finding his dead man's switch, which they think is on an old ABBA CD in a jukebox, Charlie is a mile ahead of them. The chip he used to get the skimmer past security, it was actually a bug, and he planted it in the file case he gave them. He's listening to their every move, and the second they realize it was all a bluff, poof, he's already gone.
So now he's a trained operative. Well, kinda. Charlie starts his mission, methodically working his way through his list. Look, he's no natural-born killer, but he is a phenomenal planner, and he's about to find out just how far he's willing to go.
So here's the checklist, the mission briefing, if you will. These are the 4 people responsible. You've got Gretchen, a former intelligence officer, Mishka, a Russian operative, Lawrence, a special forces vet, and finally Horst, the mercenary who actually pulled the trigger. First up is Gretchen in Paris. He gets into her apartment, waits for her with a gun, but he just can't do it. He can't bring himself to pull the trigger. So he switches gears, pivoting to a much more intellectual trap. He finds out she has severe allergies, follows her to a hospital, and floods her allergy testing chamber with pollen, trying to force her to talk. But the plan goes completely off the rails. She manages to break free, they get into this brutal fight, and as she runs out into the street, she gets hit by a car. Killed instantly. A completely horrified Charlie has to just grab her phone and run, with the weight of what just happened crushing him. Okay, so plan A was a disaster. Charlie realizes he is way in over his head. He needs help, and there's only one person he can think to call. Inquiline, the hacker who sent him the original files. She tells him she's actually the widow of the original Inquiline, a CIA asset who was killed by the system, just like Sarah was. She's tired of running, so she agrees to help him.
Now, with a real pro in his corner, he tracks his next target, Mishka, to this insane luxury hotel in Spale. And he finds the perfect weak spot. Mishka loves to swim in the hotel's famous rooftop pool, this amazing glass-bottom structure that's suspended between two buildings. And this is a massive turning point for Charlie. From a safe distance, he confronts Mishka through a speaker, asking where he can find the leader, Horst. When Mishka refuses to talk, Charlie just presses a button. The glass cracks, then shatters, sending Mishka and tons of water plummeting to the street below. It's a flawless, remote kill. And right there, the transformation from analyst to assassin is complete.
But as Charlie's hunting them, you've got to remember, the CIA is hunting him. He might be a ghost, but he's leaving a trail, and the agency is closing in just as fiercely as he is.
Back at Langley, things are starting to seriously unravel. The new director, O'Brien, is getting really suspicious of Moore's off-the-books operations. At the same time, another team analyzes footage from that hotel in Spain. They figure out Charlie had help, and they trace his encrypted messages back to the original Inquiline, quickly realizing his widow has taken up the mantle.
The agency tracks them to a safe house in Istanbul. A drone spots them just as they're trying to escape, which kicks off this desperate chase along the coast with cars and boats. And in all that chaos, Inquiline is shot. Charlie manages to get away, but it's too late. He's lost his only ally. He's completely alone again.
And that brings us to the end game. It's just Charlie now. He's on his own, he's lost everything, and he has absolutely nothing left to lose. He's going after the man who actually pulled the trigger.
So after taking out the third target with a really clever bomb trap, Charlie finally tracks down the last man, Horst. He gets on his boat, but he's captured. Horst finds the bomb Charlie planted and just mocks him. He tells him he isn't a real killer, that he does everything from a distance. He even hands Charlie a gun and dares him to do it, face to face.
But that's what Horst just doesn't get. Charlie's checkmate isn't about pulling a trigger. He puts the gun down. As Horst's crew starts to panic, the yacht suddenly veers off course, all on its own. Charlie then reveals that the yacht is CIA administered, and since he helped design its security, hacking it was easy. He has complete control, and he's steering them right into Finnish waters, where Interpol is waiting. And just like that, it's over. The conspiracy is exposed, the corrupt agents are arrested, and Charlie, well, he finds his own kind of peace. He proved he wasn't the kind of killer they thought he was. No, he was something far more dangerous. He proved that in our digital world, the greatest power isn't firepower, it's information. So, what do you think? Is true justice found through a trigger or through a keyboard?